welcome back to our part 2 state trial video. So the first essay question here is Form 5 Chapter 4, the Xylem and Phloem, that chapter lah. Okay, so we just do it as a practice because this chapter I think this year slightly lower chance to came out since last year it came out this chapter already. But now when we practice one essay here, last year was came out structure ma. So explain the results observed after 3 days. So what happened here is that they put this white color rose inside a blue color solution, then after that it became blue. So this question you obviously have to talk about the xylem, because xylem is the one that transport water. So since the water is blue, yeah, the blue color causes the rose to become blue as well. So this question actually nothing much to talk about lah. Okay, so number one, we can just already say talk about the results first. So the rose becomes, the rose petals, we can say, becomes blue color. So if you mention xylem tissue, you'll get 1 mark also, because xylem is the main tissue here involved in the color change of the rose mark. So you can see xylem tissue, number 1, okay, transports basically water from the roots into the flower. So for this question, you say roots to flower can, I don't say to leaves to all part of plant, because flower is the main part. So since they want 4 marks, right? Okay, the 4th point is a bit ridiculous. Okay, but this is what we have to say. So why the xylem transport water then is related to the thing becoming blue color? Because xylem, right, is actually a continuous tube from bottom to top. So this tube basically is continuous tube, right? So the water will flow continuously also lah. So you can say because xylem is a continuous tube from bottom to top of the plant. Yeah. So this second point is a bit weird, but yeah, that is what we have to say lah. Okay. Now, this one nothing much. You can just pause and write down if you wish to. Okay. Now, question B here more important a bit. Okay, comparison. Now, in essay questions, you have to expect at least 1 or 2 comparison questions lah. So the question here, they ask us to compare and contrast. Now, compare, even though if you just write compare, understood compare means similarities and difference. Please do not forget. So the 2 processes here they are asking us to compare is basically transpiration. You can see coming out from the stoma, and this is of course called guttation, the water droplets releasing from the sides, from the hydatodes of the leaf. Okay, for those who are not familiar with guttation, okay, we mentioned a bit here. Guttation. Okay, so here I already write 1 sentence here, so I'll just briefly go through now. Guttation basically, right, is whereby, okay, before we look at this, let's go back here first. Where during night time, right, stomata, remember, it's closed. So all the holes, they are closed. However, during night time, right, in plants, right, water is still absorbed from the roots, okay, which pushes it all the way up to the leaf. So if water constantly still being pushed into the leaf, they need to find ways to get rid of the water. So therefore, since stoma is closed, they'll push the water out from the side of the leaf, which is another hole over here called hydatote. So that is why guttation will occur in plant, but mainly occur during night when there's no light, because stoma closed during the night. They could find another way to push the water up. Alright, so if you want to know how to explain this, yeah, here I wrote the answer here already. You can screenshot or write it down if you wish to. So the roots of some small plants continue to actively transport ions and water into the roots, into the xylem. So the root pressure still increase and push the water up. So since stomata closes during the night, so the root pressure will push water out through another hole, not the stoma already this time, through this special pore called hydatodes. So if you mention hydatodes, you get another point for this. Okay, then let's do the comparison. Compare and contrast 6 marks. So similarities, you need around 2 similarities, 4 differences for this question. Okay, so the 2 similarities we can say here is, number 1, both processes, they are occurring at the leaves, right? Transpiration or even the guttation, the water's coming from the leaf. And it's not just occur at the leaf, right? Both processes involve in eliminating water. So both processes involve in permanent loss of water. Both loses water, but in a different way. So that's what we're going to compare here. Now, in this question, they ask you to compare process P and Q. So remember, in essay, if they ask you to compare an unknown, you can always state the unknown because because they didn't tell you what is this true process ma. So start with the process first, then you get 1 mark. So this is transpiration, water come out from the stomata, and this is guttation. Now, so even though both releases water, but water is being released very, very differently. So there are 3 things you can talk about water. So for transpiration, water is released in the form of vapor. So the water just evaporates from the stoma. So evaporation, you cannot see one. Guttation, the water we can see being pushed out from the leaf, right? That's why it's in the form of droplets. You can see the water. And vapor, there's nothing in the water. Water vapor is pure. But for guttation, the water is rich in mineral salts because this water is being pushed from the roots, being pushed all the way directly out from the leaf. That's why the water will have mineral salts in it. Evaporation will have nothing in it on always. So where does it come out from? The water come out from 2 different places, of course. So this one is from the stoma or the stomata. This one through the special holes at the site we mentioned already just now, called the hydatodes. Next, when does it occur? So transpiration, we will say occur during hot and windy day. Don't just say days, because sometimes during the day, there might not be sun, it could be rainy. Transpiration usually won't occur during these conditions. So you have to say during hot and windy days. For guttation, it occurs during night. You can say during humid morning and night. Basically when there's no light. And the last thing you can say is in which type of plants it occurs in. So transpiration occurs in all types of plants. So long the plant has leaves, there will be transpiration. But guttation only occurs in herbaceous plants, non-woody plants. Then some of you will say, then what about woody plants? You know those big trees, durian tree, mango tree, for example. Now usually woody stems, right? Their stem has pores called lenticel. So during the night, if stomata closes, right, water evaporates through the lenticel. So that's why in bigger trees, they don't really have guttation. So these are the things we can compare lah. Okay. Moving on. Explain the effect towards plants that do not undergo process Q. So if plants do not undergo guttation, now what happens is water will accumulate in the leaf. If there's too much water, the leaf will rupture or burst. So what you can say is the leaf veins will burst, or you can say rupture. So if the leaf vein burst rupture, right, germs, microorganisms can infect it. So you can say leaf will be exposed to pathogens, and then the leaf will die and fall off. And fall off. Another thing you can say is that guttation actually helps to eliminate excess water during nighttime. So this excess water, it's like they pee water, it's like peeing like that. Right? They cannot pee right now. So excess water cannot be eliminated. Simple as that lah. Okay, so basically these 3 is together one. So I explain what happens if too much water. The leaf veins, I'm so sorry, typo here, veins. Then, now this one, suddenly they go to Form 5, Chapter 5, the hormones. So they tell you that these plants have all this problem. So, based on the diagram, suggest suitable phytohormones to overcome the problem. Now, the 2 main hormones you can talk about here, the 2 easiest one, definitely number 1, auxin and ethylene. So for auxin, right, actually can help to overcome, let me find where's the problem. Seedless fruits, you can use auxin. You also can use auxin for this weed to kill this grass. You also can use yeah, mainly for these two lah. And you also can say for roots. Okay, so number one, the easiest one, this one, seedless, the parthenocarpy. So auxin, you can say number one. Auxin, you write auxin, you get 1 mark. So you can say number one, auxin, which is used for parthenocarpy. So parthenocarpy is the method for production of seedless fruits. They want seedless tomatoes, right? So this is called parthenocarpy. So it's like parthenocarpy to produce seedless fruits. So then explain a bit. So how do we produce seedless fruits during auxin? Is you can spray auxin to the flower, and the flower punya ovary will develop into fruits without having to undergo fertilization. So, but however, auxin only stimulates the ovary to become fruit. The ovary will not develop into seed. So that is what you can say. And what else you can say is also this one, weed growth, which you can, auxin we can also use as what we call as herbicide, weed killer, to kill the weeds. So we also can say auxin also can be used as herbicide to kill weeds. Okay, weed means just overgrown grass. Auxin also can be used to develop roots because auxin actually helps in development of shoots and also roots. So for roots also can. So we also can say auxin is also helps in roots root growth. Now for ethylene, this is the main hormone for ripening of fruits. So you can see that the auxin there actually already explained almost around 6 marks already. So ethylene, you just talk about one function. The main function of ethylene mainly is to fruits. Yes, ripening, stimulate ripening of fruits. So ethylene, you can just say used to stimulate ripening of tomatoes. And give you a little bit more now, the hormones that we don't commonly mention also you can say is aging of leaves. This one you can use something called cytokinin, which help to delay aging of leaves. And one more you can use is called gibberellin, which is used to stimulate growth of fruits, means to stimulate larger fruits development. We use this one. Okay, so gibberellin is different than this ethylene. It is to stimulate ripening, but gibberellin is used for growth of fruits, development of fruits. Yeah, so you can mention these two. So, but auxin and ethylene is the most easiest hormone, especially auxin. There's a lot of function we can talk about auxin. Okay, so I just go through this few. Now the next question, now this one very important for this year, Form 4, Chapter 15. Essay structure, I think also have very high chance. So for this one, placenta, explain the importance of structure X to the body defense of the fetus. So they're asking about placenta, right? How does it help in body defense? So for placenta, okay, I write the answer here. Number one, placenta, right, it actually allows certain things from the mother to come into the baby, which can help the baby, can help in immunity, which they allow antibodies. So you can say that it allows antibodies from mother to diffuse through it. Number two, then you explain which can provide what we call as immunity for fetus. And remember, this is called what we call as a natural passive immunity. You receive immunity from external source, but you receive naturally from the mother as a fetus. So you can say this is known as natural passive immunity. And number 4, placenta actually also prevents like certain microorganisms, certain bacteria from entering, from mother's blood entering the fetus. So in a way, it helps to also protect the fetus. So you can say it prevents bacteria and toxins from mother blood to infect the fetus. But of course, not everything can be prevented, like certain harmful substances that mother might take in, like cigarette smoke, alcohol, or even viruses. Now these things, they are small enough to pass through the placenta. So for placenta, that's how it helps the baby. Now structure X is needed to maintain the thickness of the uterine wall. Explain this statement. So placenta at the same time during pregnancy, right, it acts as the so-called endocrine gland. Means it can secrete hormone to maintain the endometrium wall, which is of course the progesterone, estrogen. So first, if you write this, right, act as an endocrine gland. Okay, what hormone does it secrete? Which secretes estrogen and progesterone. So these two hormones to maintain thickness of endometrium. So another thing you can say is that this placenta, right, it actually replaces the corpus luteum, because corpus luteum only will secrete progesterone, estrogen around for 2 to 3 months only. Is it 3 to 4 months only? So after that period of time, the placenta will take over it. So you also can say that. So the placenta replaces corpus luteum to continue secreting these hormones. Secreting these hormones during pregnancy. So the main thing is here, you're going to know that it secretes this hormone to help maintain the thickness of endometrium. So the endometrium then only can support the fetus. So that's why we always say placenta, they also involved in secreting hormones. Yeah, that is the main thing lah. Okay, moving on. Twins, they're asking here. Okay, so we have 2 twins here. Compare the formation of twins Y and Z. Now, first, twin Y and Z. Okay, Y you can see is actually identical to. This is non-identical. How do I know that? It's by mainly looking, of course you cannot see the faces, right? The placenta. Non-identical twins will have their own placenta. But identical, they will share the same placenta because they are formed from the same zygote. One zygote will only form one placenta. Okay. Now for this question, right, they ask you to compare formation of the 2 twins. So you cannot say that, identical, non-identical as one of the difference, because they didn't ask about the twins, they asked compare formation. So this is a bit specific, this question. Okay, so for similarities, no matter what twins you are, first you are formed through fertilization of sperm and ovum. And both involve mitosis of zygote. So both come from a zygote and slowly mitosis into these 2 twins. Now, for identical twins, how are they formed? For Y is identical, right? Yeah, so it's basically 1 sperm, 1 ovum. Non-identical, 2 sperm, 2 ovum involved. So sometimes in the mother's ovary, due to hormone imbalance, they might accidentally release 2 secondary oocytes during ovulation. So when sperm come, both of them will be fertilized. Okay, and basically 1 zygote is formed, 1 sperm, 1 ovum, so 1 zygote, this one 2 zygote formed. However, even though this is 1 zygote, later when it becomes an embryo, this embryo will somehow split into 2. So we will say this embryo divides by mitosis into 2 embryos. But for non-identical, embryo do not split by mitosis or divides by mitosis. And placenta, just like we mentioned already, so during this development of the identical twins, they only have 1 placenta. So placenta, you can say, is shared. So for this one, each twin has its own placenta. Now for this question, you also can talk about the twins' linear characteristics, not entirely about the formation. Now even though we have 6 marks already, okay, a few more things you can say, the characteristics. So basically for identical twins, they will have same physical characteristics. So physically they look the same eyes, same eyebrows, same hair, same looks. Okay, this one they do not share the same physical characteristics. And for gender-wise, since identical, they are same physical characteristics, same genetic content, everything, they definitely will be same sex. But for non-identical, can be same or even different sex. Okay, so I give you 6 differences here already, plus 2 similarities, 8 marks in total. Alright, so twins, that's what we can say. Next, explain the effect of these 2 women. One pregnant woman smoke, the other pregnant woman takes contraceptive pills. So they want, how does it affect, the other one is how does it affect the menstrual cycle? Okay, one's fetal development. Okay, it's very simple. So if a woman smoke, now cigarette smoke, there's a lot of harmful contents that will harm the fetus, especially being the nicotine, tar, these kind of things. So number 1, you can say the cigarette smoke contain nicotine, which nicotine is one of the small substances that can pass through the placenta we mentioned earlier. So you can say which can diffuse through placenta, okay, which will harm the fetus. So what happened here, you might cause something called the fetal will die, or we will something called premature birth, meaning the fetus, the placenta somehow will fail, then the baby have to be born earlier. So you can say which harm the fetus, causing death of fetus, or you can say causing brain damage, or also you can say a premature birth also can. A lot of things you can say actually. Okay, now the more important one I want to go through actually is the second one. Now this one they quite actually like to ask. Let me write it down here. So for this one is contraceptive pill. So contraceptive pill is a pill that prevents pregnancy. But this pill at the same time got a bit of effect on the menstrual cycle as well. So first you can say, right, now how does it affect the menstrual cycles? Because contraceptive pill contains what we call as synthetic progesterone. So progesterone, okay, for the what we call the menstrual cycle hormones, the FOLP, this hormone has negative effect on L and F. Meaning to say, no FSH, no LH, your follicle won't develop, and LH, which is for the ovulation one, will not occur. So no follicle develop, no ovulation means no second oocyte release, meaning to say, no matter how many sperm come, there will be no fertilization. Okay, but question want you to explain on the menstrual cycle. So basically, when there's no FSH, remember menstrual cycle begins from F, the first hormone. So without this hormone, right, your whole menstrual cycle basically will stop. So you can say, explain this. Why? Because progesterone inhibits pituitary gland from secreting FSH and LH. Now, for pregnancy-wise, FSH, LH, as I told you already, it prevents for development of follicle and ovulation. But this question did ask about how does it prevent pregnancy, right? They say how does it affect the menstrual cycle? So basically, menstrual cycle stops. Because no hormones, that's it. Okay, but let's say if they ask how to prevent pregnancy, you can just write it here. This one actually prevents development of follicle. No follicle develop means oocyte doesn't develop because follicle surrounds the oocyte, helps to develop the oocyte, so there will be also no development of oocyte. And without LH, basically there's no ovulation. Our last and final question. Form 5, Chapter 10. A bit of Chapter 9 also in it because it's about a bit of mangrove also, so our environment, our ecosystem. Okay, the first question they ask, okay, based on diagram 11A and B, discuss the solution suggested by Department of Environment to overcome the problem. So the problem here is strong waves, damage housing areas, okay, caused by, the wave wash like tsunami and that basically. So they say, how does planting mangrove and coral helps? I already prepared the answer here, so you can see here. Now, you plant mangrove trees, because mangrove, right, if you look at our textbook, one of the benefits of mangrove, it is act as a protection zone. Because mangrove, right, their stem are very strong, their roots are very strong, they can act as a natural barrier to reduce impact of strong waves and wind. Now, you see that they also got plant coral. Coral also can help reduce the impact of waves. Okay, so therefore, protecting the housings here, right? They plant housing area law. So you can say therefore preventing damage, protecting towards the housing area. Next. Okay, this is actually the Form 5 Chapter 8 question. They're asking about the naming system. So explain the naming method for proboscis monkey according to the binomial nomenclature system. Actually, for naming system, right? Okay, according to the naming system, this second word must be small letter. Now, so by the way, every scientific name actually made up of two words. Humans are called Homo sapiens. So this monkey is called proboscis monkey. So how to explain? Number one, it consists of two words. Now, where does these two words come from? It's actually, which is based, whereby the first word is actually come from the genus. Second word is the species. So that's the 2 marks already. 3 marks in total. So if you know what's genus and species, okay, so for the binomial nomenclature system, right? Okay, the categorizing of living organisms, right? There's this thing called the what? I remember it. This Donkey Kong penis can only find good species. So the scientific name will be based on the last two, genus and species. So that's what it meant here. And then you can explain a bit more. So like we mentioned just now, the first word must start with capital letter. Second word actually must start with small letter. Okay, but that one very long. I don't write that one up. So when we write name, right, now there are two ways. In printed form, it must be italic. When writing that time, you must underline. So you can see when printing, names must be written in italic form. Italic means have to sengit, but when you handwritten that time, you must underline. Okay, when handwritten must be underlined. Yeah, but the easiest thing is basically two words, first word genus, second word species. Okay, write the time, underline, printed form, italic. And then you also can say the first word, first letter must be capital, the second word start with small letter. Also can. Next, suggest the method of preservation and conservation that can be done to support the campaign. So preserving and conserving endangered species, like the monkeys or elephants, tigers. So very common, they ask us how to preserve and conserve. Now the two most common steps we can actually do. Now preservation is one of the best, but not 100% effective. Okay, so what's the meaning of preservation? So preservation means what can we do to preserve, memelihara, protect. So the preserve is actually very simple, because all you have to do is gazette forests as reserve. Meaning to say, government have to chop certain forests and say this forest is protected, nobody can come in. So if you do so, the animals, the natural species are not being exposed or harmed by people. Because people cannot come in, they cannot touch this species. So therefore, I get to maintain the natural species, right? They live in their natural food chain, natural environment, natural ecosystem. Okay, then we also can say forests are then protected from, you can say, humans' activities, right? Protected from deforestation. So these are the things that we humans do in forests that harm species. So if you protect the forest, nobody can come in. Now, but some species, they are so close to extinction whereby humans need to help in, need to step in to help, right? So by preserving it is not good enough because some animals, they are so low population to the point whereby they find it very hard to mate or even survive on by themselves, like let's say tiger, for example. So for conservation, there are two methods, basically in situ and ex situ conservation. So if you mention in and ex, 1 mark each, we really have 4-5 marks, almost full already. Then you just have to explain what's the meaning of in situ. So in situ means you take care of the species in its natural environment. So you can say, species is taken care of in its natural environment. Or natural habitat, actually. Ex situ, we need to take the species out and take care of it, like in zoos, wildlife park, okay, because these animals, they cannot live on their own, so maybe you help them reproduce. So basically, species is, you can say, protected outside of its natural habitat, like zoo. So ex situ will be very more effective because we can monitor these animals 24/7. If they're sick, we can give them medical care. If they need to reproduce, we can help them. So you also can give examples, like you can say you can prepare breeding facilities for animals, right? Help them breed. When they big enough already, then only we release them back into the wild. Yeah, example lah. So this is conservation in and ex. So conservation, we have to put in more effort to protect, take care of the animals. Then our final question here, based on diagram 11, justify the importance of mangrove ecosystem to the industry. So mangrove, besides acting as protection zone, mangrove, okay, they say here, it helps in the charcoal industry. Now, because mangrove punya wood, we can use it to make charcoal, which their wood, this mangrove wood punya charcoal, it doesn't release as much smoke as normal punya charcoal, means the quality is better, it reduces pollution. Okay, so you can say the mangrove wood can be used as fuel source. So we use coal, we burn coal for fuel to generate electricity, for example. So you use a fuel source, you can say which has lesser smoke. So it basically reduces pollution. Okay, so charcoal, nothing much to talk about. Now, seafood industry. Okay, I just write it down here. So for mangrove, right, there's one thing in our textbook that say that it can be used for fishery resources. Means mangrove, right, since their roots, they are very long and wide, right? Some people, they will use their roots there to rear fishes. So we can say, can the mangrove roots can be used to rear small fishes. Okay, so we also can help to generate income for fishermen. Yeah, so that's the thing you can say. And village industry, okay, it's not very funny. Meaning they are those kampong people, right? They can use the mangrove to make stuff to also generate income, just like how they used to rear fishes. Like for example, they can use the mangrove wood to make fish traps, okay, fish cages. Yeah, sounds a bit weird, but that's the exact thing you can use it for. You also can use their woods to make art and craft, right? So they can say the woods can be used to make art crafting. And their leaves, right, they can also use to make those kind of roofs, those kind of, we call it as nipa roofs, the nipa leaf. Nipa leaf is, the leaf is actually those kind of mangrove leaf to make roofs. Yeah, so you can say the nipa make something called nipa roofs. Okay, so yeah, mangrove ecosystem, the timber, the wood itself can be used to make charcoal. Charcoal can be used as a source of fuel, can be used to make like crafts, make fish cage, boats. Yeah, you can see also boats here also can. So it's good for seafood industry as well because you can use the mangrove to rear fishes, not just fishes but prawns, those kind of clams also can. Okay, so this is things that they can ask from chapter 10, the mangrove part. So I think mangrove you need to study a bit besides the what colonization succession. Yeah, so what's the benefit of mangrove? This one, study a bit. Okay, so like we did a few examples already. For example, mangrove can protect protection, so tsunami or wind also can prevent, can reduce, and we can use it to make a lot of stuff as well. Alright, so this is our final video before your SPM already. So I hope that this might help you. Even though some of the questions here are a bit weird, but SPM we have to expect this kind of question. That's why I picked this paper to do with you all. Okay, so good luck. I hope to see you guys very, very soon. So bye bye.